Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go. Hi, everyone. Today's Wednesday, September the 3rd. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are sitting looking at price action that gave us a V recovery. Remember, this is what I said yesterday that was most likely. I said, listen, they're going to force the retail trader and the short-term speculator down with aggressive motion, and then bigger money is going to push them right back up into the resistance zones. So this is what we saw, reflexive recovery. Happens all the time. Last night, we opened up, and our opening 30-minute candlestick formation dipped down into the last high-volume candlestick of the trading day. And what we'll notice is the 30-minute candlestick, that high here, ended up being the target for the downward formation. So how do we look at that? Well, the high volume candle is here. Price action moved above this area. When we break down in that first 30 minutes, the most likely target is the top of that last 30-minute candlestick formation, or the close of it. Anyway, you can see that we got right into it. But setting up a trade here isn't particularly easy, simply because so much motion moved between the first, this last 30-minute candlestick, and the 4 p.m. candlestick, which also had a fair bit of volume on it, pushed it very far away from the 3:30 to 4 p.m. candlestick, right? So we have to lean on trend if we want to do that. And here is trend. It's down on the 63. It's down on the 200. Momentum is up, pressing into the space. So it presents a cross current. Unless you're staring this one down into the middle of the night, not a super easy trade to take in my mind, right? So what we're staring down here now is a recovery and a test. My lines here are always moving back to 30-minute candlestick formations that are holding high volume in the recent past. You can see that we are rejecting value area low, that number 6,460. And so the traders are really trying to get themselves back up in the pocket. You can see how important put support is at this 6,450 area. They are going to try and hold it. So my suspicion is 6,440 is the floor for buyers to push price action up into the point of control, which is 6,470. This type of action is what I expect to see in the majority of September. Any kind of deep reflexive moves going to bring buyers into the formation. Any type of great big spikes to the north going to bring sellers into the fray. So what are we looking for today? We're looking for a retest of higher lows and a move to the north. That's my suspicion. Now, look at what we've got here. Divergent momentum. We have a high, and then we have a higher high. But down here, where the MACD is, we've got a high and then a lower high, but our lines are in positive territory. That's a pretty big mishmash. So, you know, it's anybody's game. My suspicion is that if you're trying to go long and you lose 6,440, we're going to fall another 20 points. And so that will put us at that 6,425, where they will try to bounce again. This is my thought. Very, very messy price action. We've got a Fed speaker. Some governor is speaking today at 10:30. We have the JOLTS meeting. We've got all kinds of things going on. And we'll see, right? We'll see what happens. Just use your lines to go from support to resistance to support to resistance. Trade level to level in this kind of formation, holding on and watching things rise. Though it might feel good if you can ring the register, it usually puts a fair level of anxiety into the trader and not really worth the mental aggravation that's caused. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful. If you're trying to build process and process controls, you really aren't pushing the vehicle to see how fast it can go. You just want to make sure that it can take the turns at the speed that you're doing that. So what do we have here as we stare down the NQ? I just expanded the big box. That is the Jackson Hole commentary. We did the same thing, V-shaped bottom, double down there in the space. A lot of put support here at this 23,000. As I said yesterday, hey, here are the stair steps. We can go all the way to 23,000 and then rotate back up. And we did exactly that. We really did exactly that. And so today we're looking to see what the traders are going to be able to do up above the point of control, which is providing the first measure of resistance, 23,460, let's say, right? Call resistance is just above it. So the traders who are positioned with options don't expect price action to move above 23,500. Well, it could easily move above that because we're sitting in this pocket that suggests that we could go 23,540, 23,565 in the move to the north. And it really does depend on how many people got short here waiting for the big September seasonality formation. And so my urging to you is, listen, seasonality is exactly what it is. It's a point in time. It's a statistical reference point. Every statistical reference point has something called a confidence interval, and it's where noise happens on the edges. And so noises on the edge can give us this kind of motion. And we have very noisy backdrops. So we have to think about this not trending in a specific way to the downside. All right. So that being said, that's what we want to stare down. We're in a big volume pocket right here. I would not be surprised that we test 23,500 to 23,540. Trend is down, but traders are really trying to get above the range. This is negative divergence, just as it is in the ES. So any big bounces are very likely met with selling, in my mind. Down here at 23,300, we've got another line in the sand, and then we have a high volume low for the 0 DTE at 23,268. Traders might be just hanging out here, but if it breaks north, it could break hard if there was a lot of selling here that has not turned around yet. Wow, I use a lot of words there. Sorry about that. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's take these guys off. Here we are looking at the YM. The YM, have a peek, right? Last 30-minute candlestick of the day, not really that dramatic, right? Not that dramatic at all. And so I want to shift to the first 30-minute candlestick of the day. So our support floor right now looks like 45,277. Trend and momentum are mixed, right? Trend down, momentum up. We have a little bit of negative divergence, but it's not very much. And our support edge gives us potential long action at 45,277. Look at the size of this wick. Mercy. So the open of that bullish candlestick gives us a relative floor at about 45,190. We could see pullbacks to there and then a bounce again. They are coming into these wicks that, that's them shaking the weak longs out of the trade before they turn around and move back into the top of the last 30-minute candlestick of the day. These things, these price action events can give you very nice targets. Right now, a lot of sellers sitting above 45,366. If we do breach that, we'll be looking at 45,407, 45,450, value area low, 45,470. If we revert back down, I think we test 45,000 again. Did it stop on the nose? Look at that. Stopped right there at 44,997. Turned right around, and everybody bought it right at that zone. So let me see if it actually hit it on the nose. 45,000 on the nose. So big fat round number, always a big deal. Traders trying to buy it up. We're in a nasty pocket here of motion with a very big opening 30-minute candlestick that could still push us into the range. What do I like for this one? I don't like playing around in here. I prefer that it came up to 45,450 and then gave us a resistance area to play. Then I would take the short. Or if it would come down into 45,190, I could see about a 30-point stop and then, moving back up. It's a mixed bag. And I think a lot of people are waiting on what they think the Fed is going to do about the interest rates. All right. Taking a look at micro Bitcoin here, and this 930 candlestick, holy smokes. Oh, yes. I started the grinding kind of early today. 30-minute candlestick formation. Dear Lord, hang on. Okay, so what happened with Bitcoin with this very large candlestick formation? It came back. Let's do Fibonacci, see if the traders, it looks like they held the 50% range pretty well. Oh, on the nose. Take a look at that. That's very interesting. That smacks of algorithmic trading right there. 50% bounce on that great big candlestick formation. Now the traders are above that zone, but as I mentioned yesterday, that I don't really like shorting formations until we're up at about that 112 to 113,000, right? And that is where we are headed right now. Bullish momentum, and we just had a crossover of those moving averages for those who like to trade that sort of thing. So we're going to walk up into resistance. It does look to me like pullbacks are buy zones here. 30-minute low of the opening candlestick got broken, and the last 30 minutes of the day, that's the candlestick we got trapped in. Notice, right? Traders came in. Here's the 3:30 to 4 candle. They did not break the low of it. They did break the high of it, and they came in right around the close of that candlestick, started buying it up. That's pretty important for us to see. Again, this looks very algorithmic, very, very much algorithmic motion. And so now, as the traders are holding this edge, 111,900, fair support zone. You could certainly buy that area if you are so inclined. It is more bullish, right? There's positive momentum for the last run up, and now even more positive momentum here, though the lines are mixed, right? The lines are showing negative divergence. To me, that's a mixed bag, right? That's a B minus, maybe a C setup, right? Because things aren't really converging. If we waited until all the heavy congestion here and we went back into that 30-minute volume formation, or even the 50% range of the prior motion, we'd be in good shape. And that's about 110,000. That might be a better buy in the space. Mixed bag. You just pick one, wait for it, set your stop appropriately, and just let it ride out, because literally a number of these things could be a coin flip. Yeah. If it were me, I'd wait until the heavy congestion regions to pick the long and then take it up to the next space. If you want to take the short, it's got to break down below this point of control and give you a failed retest, just like this, breaks down below the point of control, bounces, gives you a failed retest, and then you can move to the south. All right, let's take a look at oil. We're in the October contract. Wow, what a big move. I did not trade these guys yesterday. I was in so many different meetings. Taking a look at the price action, this 5 a.m. candlestick we talked about. I said, wow, isn't that interesting? That was a very big candlestick at the time. And then we had our 8:30 candle open, which also very big. And then the 9 o'clock candle. And this box is now the one we need to watch. The 8 a.m. candlestick from yesterday. Notice they lost the floor of it and retested and failed it. So looks bearish. Where might it go to? Point of control is sitting below at $63.99. And then the stair step below that, $63.78, $63.57, and then the value area low, right? A value area low. What do we have? We have a high, a lower high, a lower low, and so the bounce should give us another selling formation. These two moving averages are very far apart from each other, right? So we could easily have some kind of reflexive bounce. There is, what is that, a 5:30 candlestick? Okay, something's going on at 5 a.m. these days. Somebody is making some moves, right? Here they were long. Here they were long. It was about 4:30. This one is at 5:30. The following day, we're sitting right underneath it. So, yeah, a good short might be $64.40. I think that is, I think that's a fair area to try the short. Could it get all the way up here into $54.64 or $54.81? Absolutely. Absolutely, we could. So what's my ideal space? I'd like to get down to the value area low at $63.40 and then move from there, right? We've got some big boxes over here, $63.27, right? And so that could end up being a support zone right around $63.80. Very messy chart. If you caught this break, wow, what an incredible break off of this 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. candlestick formation from the prior day. Great breakdown and just a savage move back into heavy congestion. And so we're caught, landlocked in this area. Really pretty ugly pricing. Don't love it. Let's take a look at gold. Holy smokes. If this isn't flashing warning signals, I don't know what is. All right, so let's go to the 4-hour formation here. This move is parabolic. That's absolutely incredible. I'm going to remove this fib. This is the largest volume candlestick on the 4-hour formation of the entire chart we're looking at, which is the current contract. If we do Fibonacci there, we can see that we are well over the regular motions. Okay, 6 is the top edge that we have. And then, wait, what? 4, 5, 6. Okay. That's 3,622 is the 6x of this rotation. That is that's very parabolic. That is really incredible. If you want to do the standard way to draw Fibonacci, looks a little bit like this, where we just take the wave from high to low. The 1.5 area is right around the same place. 3,624. First lines in the sand. We continue to break up and over all of these formations. This price action is very bullish. It is very, very bullish. Support regions, 1030 candle. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Something happening in the middle of the day. Normally these guys have their high volume candlesticks around 1 o'clock, 12 to 1 o'clock when they close. But we've had 2 days in the recent past that give us these big 10 o'clock moves. So somebody's moving some product for sure. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, so what are we looking at? Pullbacks or buy zones. Where's the last value area high that gives tons of support? 3,594, right? That's pretty big. 3,594. This is the Asia candlestick at 930. Let's see what the 930 candlestick looks like here. Nothing too big. Nothing too big, but we are going to frame it out because 9 p.m. is the Asia candle open. You can see them holding that as support, new support. Could you take a buy zone if you wanted here at 3,609? You certainly could. I'd collapse into a tighter time frame to do it. Floor does seem to be value area high at 3,597, but we are clearly, this Asia market box set the tone in terms of keeping most of the volume in that pocket. And so my thought would be the next high mark moving into the space, if you bought it long, your stop would be this last 30-minute candlestick break, and that just below that, right, would be about 3,605. That's what we would stare down right here. Okay, finally, let's take a look at SPY. Trying to set up the Iron Condor for today. Actually, yesterday's worked perfectly. It was absolutely beautiful. And so today looks a little bit of a mishmash, to be honest, because we've got momentum that's in positive territory, trend that's down to flat, and a big volume candle. Where's the last 30 minutes of the day? Yep, right here. That gives us a low end of $639 and a high end of $640.50. Very thin volume pocket. We could fill that in very easily. The opening range candlestick, look at that, breaking both sides, which is normal. We got a gap fill. We've got a gamma line here at 641. Pullbacks look to be buy zones here, but with negative trend, they could be deeper and come right into the put support line at 640. I think that would be fairly ideal for a bullish pressure event to take over. If we cannot lose that area, if we cannot hold that area, it's going to turn reflexively short, and the main put support for the options now become 635. All right, that's it, folks. Sticky day, messy day, a lot of price action. It looks awful. Do your best, trade small or not at all.